one. Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's Entrepreneur. Joining me today on Calgary's podcast is Amanda Schmidt, who is owner of Purely Inspired Living and also is involved in the ONDAMED Wellness Studio in Calgary. Thanks for joining us today, Amanda.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Okay, let's talk first of all about Purely Inspired Living. Give me a little bit of a rundown of what that is and what you do.
Absolutely. So, Purely Inspired Living is a brand that I had started about last year. And I had recently discovered that I wanted to step out of my 9 to 5 kind of situation. And I went through a lot of health challenges, and I wanted to start something that could also allow me to help other people. So that's kind of how it started.
Okay, and what sorts of things do you do there?
Absolutely, yeah. So I offer something called on-demand therapy, which means wave medicine in Latin. And it's PEMF therapy, which is pulsed electromagnetic fields. So this involves basically, I have a biofeedback element that I also tie into the therapy, and that involves me working with the pulse. And through the pulse, I can actually help the body to locate and address different issues that it may be storing. So there's kind of like a neck applicator that is hooked up to the client while I listen to the client's pulse. And as I'm doing that, I'm kind of scanning the body. Think of like a wand, like an applicator. And I go head to toe and I look for changes within the pulse quality. And what's really interesting about that is the pulse will actually change based on an area of the body that I will scan. And that will tell me that there's an area there that needs to be addressed in terms of the frequencies that the machine actually mimics from the body itself. And that's really, really fascinating because our mental, physical, and emotional well-being is all connected. And sometimes, and this can happen throughout our lifetime, most clients, when I'm scanning, I will find an area of the body that has been stagnant or storing something. So sometimes there's a 14-year-old shoulder issue. Sometimes there's an ankle injury from figure skating many years ago. And when these areas of the body have been storing this energy, or let's say it's trauma, because it can happen on the emotional, mental, or well-being kind of scale. And the on-demand will actually work to release some of that tension or stored energy that the body's been holding. And what happens is that if we have these areas of our body that have been storing this energy, sometimes our body's regulatory systems will not be functioning optimally. And that's when we'll kind of see different issues come up with people's health. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's completely individualized to each person.
So tell me a little bit of the history here and how you got involved in this and more the why.
Absolutely. So throughout my life, I have been very holistic, been very natural. That's how my mom raised me. So I've also had different food sensitivities that I've struggled with for most of my life. So really my body has been very sensitive since I was young. And I have experienced different health challenges throughout my life, such as depression, anxiety, which really kind of happened more in 2020 when COVID kind of hit the fan. And that was the first time that I've ever experienced mental health problems. And I was always someone who was constantly doing well and just a very happy person. And that really, really struck my body. So, kind of since 2020, my body has been storing this energy. And I've also had other experiences since then. I've had injuries. I came to Alberta and I had two unfortunate life-altering circumstances happen to me. And that really put my body in a state of not being well. And I started to have these different issues that happened, such as bloating or depression came back, anxiety. I used to have these different skin issues as well that I would struggle with. And I have tried everything under the sun for years, as much as most of us do with our health, right? We try to spend money on maybe it's medical, maybe it's natural, maybe it's a mix of both. We'll sometimes go to everyone under the sun and we won't really get an answer on why we feel the way we do and how we're supposed to fix it, right? So sometimes it's constantly doors being shut in your face. Maybe it's your husband, maybe it's your sister, maybe it's your child, right? And it gets very, very frustrating. So these emotional issues on top of what you may already experiencing kind of affect the body and put it more in a stagnant state. And if we don't have the proper support, as in where the ONDAMED actually kind of speaks to the body, right? So I'm the in between. I'm kind of the emotional assistant, informational assistant. And I help the body with the help of the nervous system, actually. So the nervous system helps us to tell us where these areas are in the body. And the more stimulation that you receive from the frequencies, the more that your body will be able to release some of these areas that may be stored to speed up. So technically, to help the body heal itself, quite simply, which is really, really fascinating.
How did you come across this on the bed?
Yes, on to med. Yes. So it was June 2024. I had kind of sat down just with myself and I mapped out everything that was going on with me, every problem, every solution, every challenge. And I have been seeing naturopaths, all different types of health practitioners my whole life. So I picked up a thing or two from constantly working with people to figure out what was going on with me. And it was kind of interesting, the timing, because my stepmom back in Ontario, she said, Amanda, I just discovered this therapy. It's kind of cool, and I think you should probably come try it because we want to see if it's going to work for you, to help with what you're going through. So I flew home and I went over and I checked it out and I was blown away. So I have been very sensitive also my whole life, which means I'm very receptive to energy, which helps me be skillful at what I do when I work with the pulse and the on-demand. My body responded immediately. There was shutters of energy that would flow through my body from my head to my toe. And we live in a very logical, focused world, right? A lot of our brains think logically. So when something's introduced to the community or different people that you may know of, right? It doesn't sometimes click that, oh, this is a bit kind of weird, and you know what? That's okay, right? Because it's an adoptive process that the community will probably go through as they learn more about what I'm bringing to the city. And it blew my mind. 6 years of problems, my body started to move. So my it works on a cellular level as well, right? So when our bodies are stuck, we're in kind of a disharmony, right? So what the ONDAMED does is that it will locate and it will find what these different frequencies are that your body may be in disharmony with. And then it will reintroduce the same frequencies to restore harmony, if that makes sense.
Okay. What were you doing before this?
So before this, I'm actually from Ontario and I lived there with my family and I moved out to the Fairmont actually about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was at the Fairmont and I was working as the wellness manager there. And I loved it out there. It was going from Ontario to the mountains was such a big change for me. And I really, really fell in love with the mountains. And then I told myself that I probably need to be in the city because it was a bit in the middle of nowhere for me
Yeah.
after a little bit. So I took that experience and I came to the city and then I began working for a holistic wellness company where I was a wellness coach and I was help coaching women with their business and with personal wellness as well. So that's kind of what got me into this. And before that, I did some marketing and I worked for a real estate marketing agency in Ontario.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
uh, going out on your own, like what were the biggest challenges that you faced?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I am a one-woman marching band. I like to call myself. I designed my website. I used Wix, but I created my website and I do all my marketing. I do everything by myself. And it is just to speak on being an entrepreneur and also facing different challenges that, well, first of all, back in, I think it was early fall, I was facing a big challenge. And I honestly didn't know if I was going to be able to get past it and open my business to be able to take clients. And once I tackled that, there ended up being more challenges along the way, right? But it really showed me that you can go from, in my case, being very unwell, struggling, nothing is working. Nothing was working. And so many people deal with that. And we get so down about it and we just kind of accept that this is what our life is, right? So I took the challenges that I had. I said, you know what? I want to make an impact on people and I really, really want to help people transform their life because that's what happened to me, right? And the great thing about the ONDAMED is that it's entirely personalized. So the PEMF plus the biofeedback working with the pulse tailors the frequencies to your body because in our bodies, we have organs, we have detox systems, we have all these different regulatory systems and processes that our body utilizes daily, our liver, our spleen, all of that. And the ONDAMED will increase the body's ability to restore and stabilize different areas, whether that's mental, physical, emotional. So, a lot of these frequencies, the body's already very familiar with because we have an internal communication system. So, all the signals that our organs and our body systems are sending to each other, the on-bed mimics those frequencies and then it delivers the exact ones that it needs to restore. So, it's
Mhm.
really interesting.
Was it, when you first started out, was it a little, I guess, scary in the sense that you're moving away from someone, being your employer to being on your own?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I do have the incredible support of my family, and they are 100% behind me with this. So it's definitely a blessing, and I'm very lucky to have that support. Um, but as I am out here by myself, most of my family is in Ontario, it definitely gets challenging. And I'm also a bit younger than a lot of women in wellness, which I've discovered. And I
Hmm.
think sometimes I am definitely ready to kind of prove to, especially myself that, I am here and I can be taken seriously and I will make an impact on the city. So that's something that I really try to work through every single day. And I'm really also looking forward to collaborating with other practitioners in the city to build a network for the community that will actually support and help. And that is something that's really, really important to me as well.
What advice would you give to young aspiring entrepreneurs?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I never thought I was going to be an entrepreneur. And some days I think, is this even really for me, right? And my passion drives it. If you are unhappy and you want to make a change in your life, find the support and find something that you want to change the world with. And if you can make one impact, if you can make an impact on one person in your life, that is absolutely incredible. And it's those small wins as you go through the process that will keep you going, right? So when I was growing up, I actually was bullied very, very intensely. And that's when some of my anxiety started to arise. So I think I actually had this anxiety that was stuck, and my body was storing trauma from different experiences that I had growing up. And, when you feel like you can't fit in, you don't know who you are, I have a passion for youth as well, and I really do want to get involved in whatever way I can moving forward to support them. Because it's tough for young women. It's really, really tough. Social media is tough, and it's just getting harder, right? So I feel like I am still young enough that I can connect with younger women and teens and whatnot. So yeah, I always say that you have everything you need already inside of you if you have the courage to put yourself out there and try.
Hmm. Now, along your journey, in terms of the entrepreneur side of things, what helped you along the way? Like, were there any people or any books that you turned to help?
Oh, let's see. There's definitely a time when I was probably in my early 20s and I was reaching outwards for different inspirational women that I could, and there was a few that I did connect with, and they helped shaped my view of my career because I never thought that I would end up here if it wasn't for these incredible people that I looked up to and that I looked at differently. And I think when you're a young woman, don't pay attention to all the social media, stuff, right? Like really look for inspirational women that are making are changing the world. And through that, your habits will start to change, your mindset will change, your energy will change, and you will always surround yourself with the people. How does it go? Surround yourself with the person that you want to become, type of thing. So that's kind of how it worked for me. I did read some books. I probably can't remember the names, but a lot of it's been family and friends support and even strangers. Um, and I'm just so lucky, to have this support because when you're a young woman in business, um, you're just trying to, be taken seriously. So that's yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Amanda, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Okay, thanks. And that was Amanda Schmidt, who is owner of Purely Inspired Living in Calgary and operating the ONDAMED Wellness Studio. And I'm
Thanks,
Mario.
Mario.
Thank you. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's Entrepreneur. Thanks for joining us today.